Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Too Many Men. My name is Alison Lucan, and I am so happy to be here with the biggest Bills fan you ever knew existed because she's an influencer extraordinaire. I love all the free shit you get. Shayna and I want free shit. You heard it here on the podcast.
Sell your soul.
Sara Sibian, how are you?
I'm great. Thank you, Fanatics, for the Bills and military gear. I willed them to a Dolphins loss. So thank you, everybody, and come again next time.
Stephen, thanks you for your service.
Welcome.
And we, of course, would never be Too Many Men without the sweetest, kindest, most wonderful, we love her so, Shayna Goldman. Shayna, say hi.
Hi.
So happy you're here. We love you. All right. We missed a week. We had some stuff going on. So we're going to dive right in. Folks, there's just too much going on. Like, honestly, I can't keep track. Apparently, there's games. Sometimes I'm aware of them. Sometimes I'm not. I've got scores confused. I don't know who's where or what in any given day or time. So we picked the news that we want to talk about. It is time for what, Sara Sivian?
Bit of news.
Ooh, well, we want to have a little bit of a throwback first. We are nothing if not intrepid and dedicated investigative journalists, the three of us here. And so a couple weeks ago, when the Chicago Blackhawks came through Seattle to play the mighty Kraken, I took our assignment, our controversy seriously, and I confronted the Athletics' Mark Lazarus. I said, Mark, we must know how your child feels about the newest mascot in the league that we have hotly debated here on Too Many Men, Tusky. And Mark took my question to heart, and here is his response.
She said she gave him a 7 out of 10, said he was very cute. She liked the color. She was questioning how huggable he was, though. She was wondering if the trunk would get in the way of a good hug. That's why she likes Carlton in Toronto so much. He's just got a big belly. He's a big, soft guy who likes to give hugs. That's what she wants out of her mascots. She's 10, so.
Interesting. Does she have a little mini one yet, or you've not been there?
No. Do they sell them? Because if they sell them, I don't know. They don't turn around that fast usually. But if they're available, everyone has to be procured from their native arena. That's been the shtick for the last, it's been 9 years I've been doing this. So I will try to get one tonight. I don't know if they have them for sale yet, though.
All right. Shayna, what do we think? Do we agree? Is Tusky thumbs up now even more so?
Yeah, I like Tusky. I like Tusky from the beginning. I will believe anything Mark Lazarus's daughters say to me. I think they should be official correspondents for this. I need their full rankings again, and I may or may not have reached out to him to try to bully him into getting that. So I will keep at it because I do feel we need it.
Sara, do we feel bolstered by the endorsement of the Lazarus household of Tusky, even though I remain the sole voice that says I'm not a super big fan?
Well, I would never cross the insiders on this one. They know their stuff. They are leading the league, and I am glad to be on the right side of history when it comes to Tusky.
Mark, we thank you for your service. Salute. All right. Other big news. This is something that people have been hinting at. If you believe in poorly veiled marketing, the NHL has been traveling to Europe for quite some time now for a couple games here and there in the middle of the season because of what makes more sense than disrupting your body clock and your time schedules by more than 8 hours, 15 to 20 games in to play games that do actually matter in the standings. But here we are as Pittsburgh heads over to Europe to play games. It was announced this week that there is a new NHL office opening in Europe, coinciding, of course, with the international events calendar of the Global Series in Sweden. There is now going to be a permanent NHL presence overseas. Sara, what say you? Good idea or bad?
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. I don't know exactly what they're gonna do, you know what I mean? But I think you think about the lack of European head coaches in the league, and I don't know, that seems a little, not, I'm not gonna say directly xenophobic, right? But it's like the consequences of maybe kind of not building that kind of central voice in Europe. So I want to see more European coaches. Marco Sturm's doing a great job with the Bruins. How about that 7-game win streak? So I want to see more of that, and I feel like something like this could help it.
Shayna, you are always the one we turn to for business and strategy. What do you think this does to help the league? Are you a fan?
Yeah, I'm a fan. I think, listen, you want to be a global enterprise, and the league is composed of global players, so you should have a presence all over. And Europe is where so many NHLers come from, and I think you're seeing more markets like rise up the ranks. We're seeing, more Finnish players in the rise of Finnish hockey, right? There's, more presences from you have representatives of Norway and Slovenia and Latvia. So why not be closer to the action there? I think if it can get different voices into the league offices and different perspectives, right? Because I imagine it's not going to be a bunch of North American men working in that
It could
office.
be.
It
It
could
very well
be.
could be.
And like I don't think it's bad to have a North American presence there too, because I think you should have a European presence in the US and Canada and just have those like different tentpole operations to build off of, to have different voices and perspective, to learn something about it. Maybe there's ways to figure out how they can do more grassroots stuff there, or how they can help players transition from Europe to North America, or how best to do these global events. Like there's a market for it, so lean into it.
We'll be watching that closely to see how much more hockey gets played on European soil. In other news off the ice, this past weekend, the 2025 Hockey Hall of Fame class was inducted. 6 players go in: Zdeno Chara, Duncan Keith, Joe Thornton, finally Alexander McGinley, Jen Bottrell, and Brianna Decker, because heaven forbid you have as many women as men going into the hall. But Sara, of this class, what stands out to you? It happens every year, but it feels like we have to mark the moment.
You know how like we have a vault of stuff. I think it was started by Richard Nixon. That's like, here's if aliens come into contact with us, like here's how we speak English, and here's all the languages, and here's like some of our accomplishments. Here's an atom. Like, do you guys know what that is? And they like put it on the moon or whatever. That's Chara. Like that is the best that the world has to offer. That's like a top 300 human of our lifetime, I think. Like Zdeno Chara is everything. He is special. And I'm trying to figure out a way to adequately sum it up. I think that's where it took me. The first interview I ever did in the NHL was him, and he was my hero growing up. So I was peeing my pants, like nervous. And then, not to mention, he's 7 feet tall and I'm really short. There's a picture of the interview because it was on this thing called Behind the Bee that they do. And like, I'm visibly nervous. It's so unprofessional. I was like 15. I was like 21, like whatever. And I'm like shaking. And he goes, "Hey, I think we're going to be on TV." And then the cameras come and like we were on TV. And we'll show you the picture when this comes. All that to say, special human. I'm glad he's in the Hall of Fame. He needs to be in the Richard Nixon's World Hall of Fame.
I had no idea when you started that sentence where we were going, and it was a journey, and I think we're all better for it, so thank you.
Of course. We're glad to be back.
Oh my God. The Hall of Fame. I feel like seeing Char in it did make me feel old. I love seeing him in it. I love seeing Thornton in it. I feel like the energy that Thornton brings to every event is just incredible. But Allison, I want to hear from you on Jennifer Botterill because you did such a cool piece on that.
Well, thank you. No, I think I think people know I'm kind of obsessed with Jen Bottrell. I just think she and AJ Molesko are just, for the way that I think about analyzing the game, like I just worship them so much. I think they're amazing. I have so much respect for Jen, both what she did on the ice. The woman literally scored at least 1 point in every single one of 113 games, except for one. Like, what are we doing? She won the Patty Kaz twice. And then she goes and is a badass analyst. And I just think she's amazing. And so I was asked to do a story on her going in. Obviously, her brother is the general manager of the Kraken, but we talked a little bit more about how people like her and her are icons and have just all these women that are playing now and professional hockey coming all over the country in North America is a tie to her. And it was really fun to tell that story. So yeah, go Jen Bottrell.
Thank you for your service.
Yeah.
What, like a few years ago, I would always like tweet about what a good job she was doing. And her agent literally DM'd me. I was like, thank you.
I love that. She really is fantastic. Like, no cap. That she, I really look forward when she's like on. It's a treat.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the woman literally worked the weekend of her induction.
Yeah.
Yeah, she did Sportsnet, did the induction, and she's on TNT last night.
Yeah.
I love that she pulls no punches too. Like I think the Sportsnet panel is so much better having her, and I like when her and Kevin Bieksa, when they agree or when they don't agree and how they go back and forth.
Yeah.
I think the conversation, there's always something to learn from. I like how they go about it. Like you want different opinions and you want to learn something, you want to hear it. And like sometimes she'll like say something that it's not going to be the favorite take, right? About maybe physicality and things like that and things that cross the line. And I like that she's like, no, this is bullshit. Here's why. And I think it sets a model for like what all of us want to do, right? Like I think she's just fantastic.
Yeah.
We need more access across everything we do, but sports is a great start of like respectful disagreement that's also intelligent. Like they both bring up good points and like from different perspectives, and nobody's like mad at each other. It's just everyone walks away knowing a different perspective. So
1,000%. Congratulations to all the inductees, including Zdeno Chara, who's apparently going in a time capsule
I need
on
to
the
put
moon.
him on the moon.
All right. In other hockey news, a key part of the Ottawa Senators, who have been floundering perhaps a bit more than we expected with the absence of their captain, Brady Tkachuk, do in fact keep that key piece in Shane Pinto, extending him 4 years times 7.5. This is a deal that I know had been on the forefront in terms of what's this organization going to do? What does the room believe in terms of what's going to be? Shayna, do you like the deal?
Yeah, like, is it technically more than what we expect for a 3C? Sure, but it's a reminder of how we have to recalibrate things. And I think every team's context is different, right? Like, their winger depth is not really strong, but to have Stützle, Cousins, and then Pinto down the middle is a big deal. And I think we've seen Pinto, I don't just think of him as a 3C, I think of him as like a middle six guy because he plays such an important role. He plays key minutes. He's been scoring when the team needs it. We all go, okay, do the Senators have a second layer behind Stützle and Tkachuk? And he literally is leading that charge. I think he's become so important to them. And I think if you're gonna, like, I don't want to say overspend because I don't necessarily think it's an overpayment, but if you're gonna invest in players, it helps to be players that you develop yourself because it's the best way to do it. We know how expensive centers are. You look at every deadline, teams are throwing away these first round picks to get a center for 2 months. Lock up your center depth. Have strength down the middle that if, say, there's an injury, he can step up. And I think with Cousins not being the perfect 2C, it makes him even more valuable.
Sara, do you think this is a good sign for Ottawa that they don't have to worry about Pinto bolting, which was one of the questions that seemed to be around this team in general?
Can they like I wish they were operating under a different mindset where it's like, yeah, of course he's going to stay with us. We made the playoffs, like whatever. It seems like they're always having an air of desperation in their negotiations. And I feel like it might be time for a shakeup in the front office, but it's just kind of, I guess that's a different story. Yeah, I think like after Pinto's starting off at a career pace too, it's like, oh, we got to lock him up. I don't know. It's just kind of like an air of anxiety, and they need to be working on not just him, but like getting a few other pieces. So I'm proud. I guess I'll pat them on the back a little bit for doing that, but we need to see more.
Yeah, for sure. Great point. Going to a team where center depth is a problem, but maybe now the least of their problems. Let's talk about the Vancouver Canucks, y'all. We know that goaltending has been an issue for them because as the first person to report Thatcher Demko had an injury a couple years ago, Sara knows goaltending around a really promising player, Thatcher Demko, has always been in question since he went down with a popliteus injury a couple playoffs back. Dealt with that. They signed Kevin Lankinen to a big contract because they didn't want to overextend Thatcher Demko. He doesn't play on the weekend in a back-to-back situation, apparently for a different reason than the popliteus, which is in the knee. And now on Tuesday at a game versus Winnipeg, he leaves the game and is now injured again with something different. So Shayna, what's worse, that it isn't the popliteus or that he's injured?
It looked like, I'm not a doctor, but it looked like I only play one on TV, but it looked like some sort of groin injury, which like that for a goaltender is quite important. So you don't want to have things here or there because it builds up. I think sometimes the word injury prone gets thrown around a little bit too much, but I think here it's kind of apt. And I think with a goaltender, it's easier to have that conversation because I think you see how things can be repeatable. It makes sense why they signed Lincoln, and I think a lot of us made fun of the contract at the time. But on the other hand, it was like, but we understand the context of their situation. Most teams won't pay a 1B this, but we understand what's happening here. And it's unfortunate because last year, Demko, it felt like he finally gets up to speed, right? And he's injured. So he comes into this year and he looks great. He's really sharp and he's what they needed him to be. And the team in front of him isn't even giving him much support. And he's still playing above the bar. And it's a reminder when you look past all of the injury stuff of what a difference maker he could be. But unfortunately, you just can't look past the injury stuff. So I hope he can get healthy. I hope this is not something that's going to become an issue like other things have for him because he's a really, really, really solid goaltender when he can be.
Sara, you just talked about Ottawa maybe operating from a point of desperation. The conversation in Vancouver is starting to lean into, should they consider a rebuild? This was already a group that was held together with perhaps scotch tape and some string and wasn't really built for contention. But if the goaltending really isn't going to be there, if this is longer term, do the Canucks need to reevaluate their strategy?
Yeah, they needed to several years ago. I mean, what I'll say about Demko's injury, and like Shayna alluded to, is that injury prone, I think, yes, a lot of the times that's phooey, especially for a skater, but like this is an overuse injury and it's an overcompensating. Now what's happening is he's overcompensating because there's an overuse. He does not want that to reoccur. So this is what happens to a goaltender. And then it affects your groin. It really sucks. Like I really hate it. And it's a really precarious situation because you're not, what's he going to do? Like not play? I understand, especially in hockey culture, you want to play as much as you can. It's a whole mess. And I hate that. This is like the Faustian bargain of kind of like the one thing that I'm like in on that the insiders don't know. And it's like a horrible thing that I don't want to be right about. But yeah, it's an overuse injury and he's overcompensating with the one thing. Like anybody would do that in a situation. It's not like a personal failing, but you just kind of, it's a tough spot where, yeah, maybe you had to the Canucks knew what the nature of this injury and what it would entail. If you're looking for a best case scenario for a nagging goaltender injury, you're already 3 steps behind, and they needed to go out and find a number 1 goaltender and just like have him, if he can come back, that's great situation. I think the Hurricanes kind of do this with Freddie Anderson, where it's like that's who you hope when he's healthy is going to be the number 1, but you need to have a few other people like cooking. So I guess they tried with Schlevo, whatever sorry, his name is. And Shelovs. I'm so sorry. But it's just at a point. Yeah, I don't know of a rebuild. I think that the ship has sailed. And I think try another goaltender. I don't know.
Going to be interesting. Yeah, I definitely wonder too, because they have said that the popliteus will never be cured. So to your point, Sara, like your body
who
starts.
Said that? Who said that at first? Oh my God. Oh my God. It was me. Okay.
But like I'm with you because, and again, I'm not a doctor, but I am a certified corrective exercise specialist. And you can start to compensate for something else in your body, and then it manifests in a different injury in a different place in your body. So, but ultimately,
she's so versatile. She fishes. She's certified. She's an analyst. She does it all.
She's a
I was told
mascot.
you just did, yeah, can't forget the Richmond Spider. I was told you just did numbers. Hmm.
All right. Well, someone who's not versatile right now is Brandon Hagel, who was injured last night in the Lightning versus Rangers game. You hate to see it, but I feel like what you hate to see more is what seems to be happening to the Tampa Bay Lightning. Folks, they don't look good. And this injury doesn't bode well. As we record, I don't know that we have a full update. Shayna, what say you about the state of losing Brandon Hagel and the Lightning in general?
I felt like I was finally like the Lightning are so back, right? Like it was like, okay, so they beat Anaheim, whatever. But you watch them against Vegas and you watch them against Dallas, and I'm like, wow, they're really shutting them down. And I think they kept pace really well with the Avs, who to me are the regular season measuring stick right now. So to lose Hagel is crushing because they're, Sorelli's day to day still, I think, and he is such an important all situation player. Like to me, he's one of my favorite players to watch in Tampa Bay, and that's saying something when you have. I mean, Nikita Kucherov's still going to be number one, but you know what I mean? Like Hagel is like he's that kind of little asshole that I absolutely love. So any long-term injury, I think, is a real killer for them because it did feel like they were finally getting back on track. It was unfortunate. I don't think it was like some malicious hit, and that you're not seeing all the discourse, which is nice for a change. But you saw in the moment the way he ran off the ice. It was like, oof, that is not a good one. So here's hoping it's nothing long term.
Sara, do you think the Lightning can weather the storm?
Storms are coming. I think that they are in the twilight of this core, and the core has been as disassembled, reassembled. People leave, people come back, and it's like it's not going to reach anywhere higher than what it is right now, but it's a pretty damn good like way to go out. You know what I mean? Like I think they're going to disrupt teams in the East, maybe be a spoiler, but they're not going to like make a significant run. And I never really like had my hopes up about that. I think they're ceiling first round exit, but like giving that team hell, you know?
Sara just sent in our chat a link to an article called A Community of Galactic Civilizations, Jimmy Carter's decades old message for aliens. And then Shayna read it at first as garlic. So we are on one, my friend.
I have, my brain is beyond shot, and I'm like a community of garlic civilizations, and I'm like, what is this? And then I'm like, oh, here we are. Sorry.
My apologies to Jimmy Carter for calling him Richard Nixon. That was like an egregious, terrible mistake.
Yeah,
we love you, Jimmy. Love you, Peanut Boy.
We'll tweet this out with the pod because I think we're all going to get educated here.
All right, see, this is what happens when we miss a week. Well, let's move on. It's a fun episode when we get to celebrate the anti shit list. And I shared this with you both when it happened, but a couple weeks ago, a wonderful friend of the pod messaged me and wanted to bring me something at the arena. And a big shout out to Chris Lemon, who, when he heard our episode with our preseason picks and our preseason draft, and we said we don't have prizes and it doesn't matter anyway, simply decided that could not stand. My friends, I bring you the Too Many Men cup that he created with his 3D printer. It says Too Many Men on one side, and it says the 2025-26 NHL Draft Champion. And the other side has the Hockey is for Everyone logo.
Oh, that's
Love
so
that.
cool.
And then wait. In the bottom, he's prepared labels so that which one of us wins the cup, we get to put our name on the cup.
That's
Oh my
amazing.
God.
So
this is everything, actually.
I know. It's so cool. So we will share this as well. And a big shout out to Chris. This was awesome. And I was able to give him a Too Many Men sticker as a very small thank you. Not near enough, but we're very excited to actually have a prize. What is this? 6-7 years in?
I'm the flat circle.
6,
It's
7.
fine.
That
6,
made my
7.
day.
So thank you, Chris. You are our anti-shit list mention for all the right reasons. That was awesome. It truly, truly, truly has been fantastic to celebrate among the three of us, and now to share with all of you. All right, it's another banger of an episode because Shayna, we have to ask another important question. What is it?
How does this affect the Leafs?
Folks.
Oh God. Okay, I've been very out of the loop recently, and I feel like I've been playing catch up. This season's been whatever, but like I can never get enough of this Leafs discourse because it doesn't matter what app you open on my fucking TikTok feed, I am getting Leafs content. It's everywhere. You can't escape them. You can only embrace them.
You can outline what's going on?
They're bad. Okay. They are struggling. I am seeing a lot of draft simulations to see if they can get the first overall pick. It's very dramatic, but they are not playing at the level that they need to play to contend. And now Matthews and Stolars are day to day, but even with them in the lineup, they're struggling. Who is at fault? We must decide because
Mitch Marner.
yeah,
Yeah.
It's still
it's
Mitch's fault.
it's Mitch's fault, and it's Mitch's fault that Mitch left, and it's Mitch's fault that they didn't replace him, and it's Mitch's fault that they hired Craig Berube as a coach who looked flawed at the time then. If you watched him in St. Louis, this is exactly what you get. It's Mitch's fault they got rid of Kyle Dubas and let Brad Treliving take over and bring this team back 10 years.
That's it. That's the one.
I mean, they had a clear direction that and directive that they wanted, right? And that was to be a tougher team. And I understand wanting more size and being playoff tested because going for a million team captains didn't work for them. But like you need to score goals at the same time. Hello?
You know what the streets are saying now? They're saying, I'm looking, I love looking at, nothing gives a more accurate depiction because it's a song and dance with Leafs reporters, right? It's like right now, the articles I'm reading about them, it's like they're kind of trying to scold them for not being the Blue Jays, who didn't even win, mind you. But it's like the tone they're taking. Everyone's writing an article trying to compare them to the Blue Jays and the whatever. But like the comments on these articles are gold. Somebody said, "Hey, like everyone misses Kyle Dubas now," and everyone's saying, "Hey, remember 3 years ago when Dubas wanted to trade Marner? Should have done that." That's how this affects the Leafs. And look at the Penguins. Ooh, you hate to see it.
And who is this? Literally, who is this goaltender they called up? I can't even say his name. Where is it? Let me find it. It's coming. Here. Wait. It was announced, was it? Oh, here.
It was announced.
This is not me making fun. I'm really trying to pronounce his name. Akhtiamov, maybe? Do we know this person?
No, because they already have. Well, Wool is playing in the AHL right now to like get back up to speed, so they're very shorthanded right now.
No grit, no compete. What did it say? What did the wall say?
I love
no
the
grit,
report.
no
Shayna's
grind,
giving us
no
a report.
greatness.
They're very shorthanded. They are. I mean, no Matthews, no. 5 years ago we had Cash, Hope, and Jobs, or whatever that meme is. Now we have no Marner, no Matthews,
no vibes.
Hope.
Do you know what the thing is? I think when Matthews isn't on the ice, I feel like you really see how bad this roster is, and like splitting up Nylander and Matthews now, like it's like okay, at least you have some hope when he's on the bench while Nylander's on the ice, but it's like it could really go two ways. Like on most teams, I'd be like, it's a good test, like the Senators, right? Like now everyone else can see where they slot into place and get your rhythm and get good, and then when Matthews comes back in, you're a stronger roster for it, and he can just get right. You know what I mean? Like I don't feel that way here. I'm like, and the other one we didn't mention, and Allison, you have seen what he's doing in Seattle. I think it's so interesting how the penalty kill looks good in Seattle. The defense is, improving, and that's a trademark of Lane Lambert. And he left for Derek Lalonde, and it's the Lalonde trajectory to me is just like fascinating because he was so good in Tampa Bay as a defensive coach, as a PK coach, goes to Detroit. Their PK is historically bad between him and Bob Boughner running it, two guys who have good experiences with it. And now it just transfers to the Leafs. Like I, I, I can't believe it. I cannot believe it. It's just like it should not be the case, and it's here we are.
Well, it's autumn and the leaves are falling. Here we are. Love to talk about the Leafs. Thank you for giving us fodder. Yes, they're broken and they're not playing well. All right, let's move on to hockey talk. Before we get to the men's side, a quick shout out to the PWHL, whose training camps began this week. We will be keeping an eye on that as that season gets underway, particularly that I'm now lucky. Also, all three Too Many Men hosts have a team in their markets now. Who knew? Look at us.
Go.
What a day. All right. Let's go to the men's side as headlines come up over there. We talked about the Leafs who are struggling, but there's some surprising teams. I think this is actually kind of fun to see kind of a changing of the guard of hashtag who's good. Let's talk about those Bruins, Sara, that you mentioned. They have won 7 straight. Morgan Geeky is killing people on Twitter saying, you want to see a dead body? Here's my take. What's working for the Bruins right now?
I mean, the reason it was so frustrating, like in their losing streak, was because they kept almost winning. So there's that. They were playing the close games and they had them right where they wanted them. Charlie McAvoy's back. You know what I mean? Obviously, there's Geeky. Obviously, there's David Pastrnak. How are you going to be about? It's a kind of like what's happening in Pittsburgh. It's just like there's people that are too good to be bad, and like when scoring's up and you have good goal scorers that are just pure goal scorers and your ceiling is high, then you're going to win a few games. I don't know. That being said, they lost 6 games in a row before this. It's not like I don't want to. They're a confusing team. I don't want to say they're better than they are. I think when they're playing perfectly, everything's really fun. And then they have a low ceiling, a low floor as well. So this month, I wrote that this month we're going to see exactly what they're made of. I think Sturm has been a really good coach and has been kind of what they needed. And I was expecting him to maybe be a little, I don't know what I was expecting, but he's kind of tougher than I thought. But I respect him. I don't know. Hats off to him. Swayman, obviously, you get what you get. Like if he's having a good game too, it's kind of the same thing with like a Demko situation where like when he's on, the Canucks are going to win. The Bruins are going to win if Swayman has a good game.
Shayna, for real or not? They're currently tied with the Canadiens atop the Atlantic with 22 points.
Do I think they're going to be a top team in the Atlantic long term? No, but do you see the signs of progress that are better than expected? I think for sure. Like the issue is like when they started to tear down last year, they didn't go for like the highest end prospects, and I think that's what's going to hold them back. But I think Sturm is doing a great job. I think the defensive details since that loss to the Senators and where the winning streak is gone. Obviously, that last game against the Leafs, notwithstanding, I think you're seeing a lot of improvements. And like the idea, I think Sturm said was like layers of defense, and I think you're seeing that. And they're even taking those good defensive plays, especially from McAvoy and Zadorov, and they're turning them into offensive opportunities. So it's gonna make them more of an Eastern Conference disruptor than I think we expected. But it's like you have this elite core of Swayman, Pastrnak, and McAvoy that is a very good foundation to build on, and I think we could see them in the mix or just slip out of it. But I think that'll set them up and position them well for next year. Like I could see this 2-year turnaround if they play it right, similar to the Caps.
A team that we maybe expected to be on the rise, but maybe my question to you, Sara, about this group is this as big of a jump as we expected, and is it sustainable? Is the Anaheim Ducks, another group based around a lot of young talent that also was on a 7-game win streak before losing to Colorado. Only Colorado in the West has more points than Anaheim. They are tied with Dallas for 23 points. And in a stat that's near and dear to your heart, they are plus 14 in goal differential. Is this what we expected from the Ducks? More or less, Sara?
Another stat near and dear to my heart is that they don't have that many overtime loss points. So they're pure. This is a pure good hockey team, a good old-fashioned hockey team. And they are legit. I mean, I know last year I had them as the breakout or whatever. Then they did a few moves this offseason that were like, oh God, if this works out, they're gonna be really good. If it doesn't, they aren't. They have really played well against tough opponents. Dostal is one of my favorite goalies coming up in the league. So I think that's important. And he'd had a few years to like entering 25 in his prime. Like I think this is a good culmination of things that have happened over the course of years for this Ducks team. You know what I mean? Like trading John Gibson was another one where it's just kind of like, okay, they kind of made the right moves at the right time. So gotta give them credit, I guess. Pat Verbeek, not my favorite like person. I don't know, like something about him, no offense, but it's just like he's a little like urgent. I don't know, like he's like kind of off the wall, but all right, if it works, it works. So gotta hand it to him on this one.
Shayna, does this just prove that Trevor Zegras was the problem all along?
Yeah, there it is. I have some Verbeek question marks as well, but I think the biggest thing here is Greg Croonan, who we all were kind of high on, I think just stifled this team's offense. I think you can go so far into adding defensive structure that you just crush all of the goodwill that they have. And I think you're seeing now players, they were naturally going to progress, right? Like Leo Carlson, you saw it. I think the way they originally deployed him was a little funky, but you could see it every game he played. Like this player's getting better and better and better. And I think now, under new direction, he is becoming more of a well-rounded threat. I like how he pressures for turnovers, but I think all of that offensive skill is shining. And guys like him and Cutter Gauthier were always going to take that next step, but I think now they're better poised to do so. Um, the defense is still a little suspect. I think it's gotten better over like maybe after maybe the 10 game mark or so. It's like trended in the right direction. And I think it was important to do it against the opponents they did. Like Sarah mentioned, like it's Winnipeg and Vegas. Like those are very tough opponents. To the way they bounced back in the first period against the Avs, I'm like, that to me was encouraging too, even though they ultimately lost. So it's like the right mix of veterans and guys like Truba, they're shining. I think Chris Kreider, from a vibes perspective and just overall like what he can do on the power play is helping, but it's still the young gun shining. And that's what's most important here. Like you're seeing the vision, you're seeing it come together. And I think it's a huge leap that they ideally would have taken a year or two ago. So it's like, okay, here it is coming together.
Another team that seems to be coming together even without a lick of defense in them, again in the West, is the San Jose Sharks, which are fun to watch on TikTok, fun to watch on the ice. Every division is so tight right now. If you look at the teams in contention in the West, they're all separated by like 3-4 points. But the San Jose Sharks sit just outside of a wild card spot, currently tied with your Seattle Kraken. So go Kraken, go. But the Sharks, Sarah, are they going to make the playoffs?
No, no, it's okay. No. Yeah, like you said, everything's close. They're having some much needed morale vibey success. But yeah, obviously the beginning of the season kind of showed like they aren't without flaws, and everybody knows that. And I'm glad that this is kind of like a glimpse of what's to come. And it's much needed, literally, again, for morale. We don't want a Connor Bedard situation with Celebrini and Smith where it's like they're crying. It's like it's really hard. And speaking of Bedard, now he's getting his moment too. I'm glad Celebrini is coming a little earlier. Look, it's a long way up. There's still some work to go, but it's going to be fine, but not right now.
Shayna, what is the gap for the Sharks to become legit? What do they still need to add besides defense?
Well, there you go. They need more defense. I think they need, to build up their bottom six. I think they just need more seasoning. But I think it's so positive that you see it. It's not like they bring in these veterans and then they kind of like pull this group of young guns around that aren't there yet. I think it's like so opposite. Like it's Celebrini leading the way. It's Will Smith looking great. I think guys like Eklund, like he showed a lot of two-way growth the last year. So now that he's healthy, having guys like Dickinson in the lineup and they're staying there, that's going to be really big for this team. So it's just like stay on this path and stay competitive for 60 minutes. Like that's like stay competitive for 50 minutes. And I think last year we saw them do that a lot more than any of us anticipated. So it gets them these games matter, even after the deadline, even after they trade players, like just disrupt things, shake things up, and don't have it that you're getting blown out, that the vibes are bad and everything's falling apart. And I feel like they've done a really good job navigating that.
To all of this, there's obviously the whole, if you're in a playoff spot on American Thanksgiving, you have a whatever it is, insanely good chance of making the playoffs. As of right now, who's your off the wall pick to make the playoffs in the West, Sarah? Ooh, she said.
Are the Ducks off the wall? They're literally number one in the Pacific.
Shayna?
Does that
Yeah.
count?
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, that
like,
counts.
Okay.
Yeah, for
Okay.
sure.
Yeah. Well, yes.
I feel like that's got to be it because I feel like Utah coming in, I'm like, well, I think they're going to be a playoff team, and I still see them like in the mix, but I think there's just the Pacific is bad. Like Vegas is going to be fine. Edmonton's going to be fine. I'm not worried about them, but I think that three spot in the Pacific is wide open, and it just feels like it's the perfect time for the Ducks to grab it.
We'll see. All right, we mentioned some of these kids just now. Sarah did in her talk of the youth. But there's starting to be the dialogue of who may make the Olympic team who wasn't in the Four Nations face-off tournament last year. It seemed like lots of spots were locked up, but now, of course, whether it be for the hashtag narrative or the hashtag drama, people are starting to say maybe it'll be someone else. So of some of the young players, you mentioned Bedard and Celebrini, Sarah, there's also Matthew Schaefer tearing it up on the island on the blue line. Any of those three in the conversation to actually make it to the Olympics in your mind?
Schaefer, how can you count him out? He's already eating these huge minutes. He's changing outcomes of games. What more could you want when it comes to an Olympian, right? Like you making the big moments and like fitting in with a new team so well already. I just love the kid.
Shayna, any, all, two of, none of the three make it in your mind?
I think all three should be there, and even if they're not in key roles, I think that's okay, right? Like, listen, the Olympics are the time in these tournaments where players teams team to load up with centers and you play a bunch of them on the wing, and then if you need someone to take a drop, like everybody can do it, and it's all about being versatile and flexible to make things work because you have to mix some extra combinations in such a short time. So adding two more centers is not a bad thing, and I think having someone like Schaefer, like he is so strong on defense. He's playing, like Sarah said, huge minutes. He's tilting the ice. He's changing the outcomes of games. Well, there he'd probably be a third pair guy. That's still good to have. But I think the biggest thing is like you're going to have this changing of the guard. At the end of the day, this is probably Sidney Crosby's last Olympics. And you think of other guys like Brad Marchand, like how long are they going to be a part of this? You know, in 4 years, I simply can't see it. Who's to say? But I think about the women's game a lot and how it helps to have that changing of the guard
Right.
while the veterans are still there, even if they're playing these minor roles, right? Like we talk about players like Taylor Heisey jumping in while you still have
And
Knight
she's playing
crushing
so
it.
well.
She's incredible. And I think it helps. Like, you don't want it that it's like, all right, well, the Lamoureux and Decker are gone. And now all of a sudden you're saying, okay, here, young guns, take over. Like, I think this is a good experience just to be there, just to see how it's done. It'll help them in the regular season. It'll help them, for the Olympics. And then it's not all of a sudden like you have to reintroduce a brand new team in 4 years.
And speaking of Olympics, we close our hockey talk with, of course, as much as it can be fashion, I guess, hockey Olympic fashion. Canada, Slovakia, and Finland all dropped their jerseys. Did you guys actually watch the Canada reveal video where everyone's like
No.
underwhelmed?
Because that's just what it is. When
They're
will I
just-
ever like it? It's just not for me.
Well, that was the question I was going to ask. Any of these three pop for you, Sarah, or are they all mid?
Um, it's all mid, but I understand why it's mid. Like you want it to be commercially successful and you want it to represent a country. Like I'm not like big on country. I know it looks like I am. Thank you, fanatics, but I'm not really big on like representing a country. I don't know. So I'm not really the person to ask.
Shayna, did you like any of them?
Finland generally I like. I think I like the last Olympic version a little better, but they're fine. I think Slovakia's are sick. I really like them. I thought they looked interesting, but Canada, there's something about the fabric choices that are bothering me. There's something about like the textures of everything. I feel like I thought their Four Nations jerseys were kind of perfect. Like I thought they looked fresh and classic at the same time. And this I look at like the black jersey in particular, and I'm like, what is happening here? Like I do not think those are gonna last very long.
Are they still going to wear those awful socks with the leaves like wrapped around them? I can't stand those. Even in the
I think,
rivalry
Yeah.
series, I was like, stop.
well,
Just a
I'm
little
not
too
sure
much.
because these are Bauer, right? Like Bauer's doing Canada for the
Right.
Olympics. I don't remember what it is for the rivalry series.
Well, they wore the whole kit. We could use, if only we had a device that could help us see what
I'm
the
trying
kit.
to look it up right now, actually.
Let's
Like,
see. Team Canada. This is what the listeners love. 2026 Olympics.
it's like I see the logos and I can see the jerseys, but like, where's the full kit?
Well, because they were on stage showing it in that video. Oh my gosh. Let me show. Okay, hold on. I have to show you this picture. Hold on. This is amazing. This is ridiculous. Hold, please. This is what the listeners love.
I mean, it is what it is. We work on the fly.
Look at this picture of Sidney Crosby and Connor. Like, honestly, what are we doing?
But wait, those are Nike.
I love this PowerPoint presentation that my
Oh, this is the
95
rivalry series. So sorry.
Oh,
Thing at that picture.
Yeah, because it's,
Okay.
do you know what bothers me? This reminds me, now that I'm thinking about it, the stripes on Canada's jerseys, on the arms, they don't go all the way around, and that doesn't bug me, but on the waist, it stops in the
Oh, I
back,
see.
and there's
Yep,
that
yep.
blank strip, and I'm like, why? But no, I have serious issues with the black jersey, and the Maple Leaf logo is fine. It's literally everything else. The fabric, I need to see it on the ice. It's too shiny.
I don't understand the multi-beveled leaf. Like, it's like, just leave it alone. That's not what a leaf looks like. It's just make it normal.
I
I
feel
will
like these
say,
jerseys always kind of suck.
yeah, yes, I agree with that. And I will say a few jerseys like that were new this NHL season
Yeah.
came out on the ice, and I liked them more than I thought I would. So
That's
yeah.
valid.
we'll
That's
see.
valid. That's
Absolutely.
valid.
Except for like, say, the Senators, because I
I
hate
can't.
them.
Yeah, it's just annoying. They need
That's
to
not
kind of
how you use
revamp
gold.
everything.
I was with
So-
someone the other day and who's not a big hockey person, and they saw them on TV and they were like, "What is that?" I'm like, "Don't,
so
let's
ugly.
just don't."
The
Don't.
shoulders are incomplete. The gold looks cheesy. Meanwhile, like the Wild use gold, and I'm like, oh my God, I'd love to see more golden jerseys.
I like gold and green. Like there's something about
Yeah.
like a gold accent used
Yes.
tastefully.
Yes. All right. Well, that was dynamic conversation. If you're just listening, hopefully the YouTube's far more entertaining as we pull up Google of the wrong jerseys. Let's wrap this thing up. What do you say? We are going to go to the final chapter of the show, which is our favorite game. And that is Fuck, Marry, Kill. As is tradition, Sarah, you will go first. And this week we are Fuck, Marry, Killing goalie bounce backs. So here are your three goalies. Fuck, marry, kill. Which of these is most likely to have a bounce back from the abysmal start that they are having to the season? And that is Ottawa's own Linus Ullmark. I almost said Boston. Goodness gracious. Montembeault in Montreal, or the ridiculous Jordan Binnington in St. Louis. Sarah, FMKM, give us what you got.
Okay, so I'm killing, oh, this is so mean. I'm killing Allmark, love him, but it's becoming more and more evident that the tandem in Boston was kind of a big impetus of his success. I don't know. I hate to say that because I'm holding out hope that he's better than what his individual starting goalie stats indicate, but it's been a lot of career sample size at this point, and unfortunately, like it's just kind of appearing to go in the wrong direction. I'm going to fuck Jordan Binnington because, I mean, he's just, you know him, he gets in a funk and then suddenly, like, he locks it and locks out. Like, that's just somebody weird. And he could be weirdly good in a week. So I know it doesn't phase him when he is playing poorly. Like, I know it doesn't mean he won't play well in the future. You know what I mean? And I'm going to marry Sam because he's young and somebody else has been able to kind of take the pressure off of him while he examines kind of what's going on. And I think, like Shayna has said a few times this season in her work and with us, that like Shayna's kind of convinced me on this one that he has the potential to turn it around and that like it might end up going the opposite way when it comes to the Habs goaltenders this season.
Shayna, your picks.
Yep, I'm gonna marry Montembeault. He's someone that So when we did player tiers this year, we didn't know where to put him. We overrated him by a lot because by public numbers, he looks better. And we were told to pump the brakes by like a lot of different people. Like, you know, the public numbers look better than the private numbers, and Montreal's defense wasn't as bad as it was. So things like that. But also, like, we were reminded when we talked to people more familiar with the position, like, he doesn't do anything as flashy, and that's what's going to hurt him, right? Like, but he's also been super adaptable. So I like that. I also like how the Canadians are still deploying him. They're not saying, okay, you're not playing. It's like every 2 games, you're still going to get that chance. And he's gotten the chance to start 2 in a row. So I think Dobish playing well, in a way, it obviously sets up competition, which can make life a little harder for him. But it also is like the team is not completely screwed without him playing up to the level we know. And I think he has a long enough track record through the years, even before the Canadians turned things around last year, of just putting up quality numbers against a not great team, that I think that makes me think he's going to bounce back once he finds his confidence. But he just needs to settle things down a bit. I will fuck Olmark. I think last year he had a lot of ups and downs. I don't think that he is this elite starter over an 82 game season, but I think he has been able to like flip a switch mid-season before, so maybe he can do it again. I think his last 3 starts he was a little bit more neutral versus just being pretty terrible, so that's something. If he can stay healthy, I think he'll be better. I will kill Binnington. It is not just Binnington who's struggling in St. Louis, and I think that's one of the biggest problems of it all. Him and Joel Holfer, both their numbers are terrible. I like how the Blues in some games are like pulling goalies and throwing them back out there, and it's like you have to try something, and I think that could help, and I think the Olympics could give them that confidence boost as well. But I also think this team has given him a lot more two-way support, that he should be better than he is. And it just feels like their goaltending's cursed this year. And you know what? I am okay with that.
Well, I am going to agree with Shayna. I'm going to fuck Jordan Binnington because I just like to say, fuck you, Jordan Binnington.
Yeah.
I am going to marry Sam Montembeault because I do think he can turn it around. He's young, like Sara pointed out as well. And I agree. I think the team in front of him is going to give him a better environment in which he can recover, which is why I am fucking Allmark, because I think that it's
Wait.
chaotic. Wait, what?
Did you fuck Olmark and fuck Bennington?
Oh, sorry. No, okay, sorry. I'm killing Allmark. See, that I'm
Okay.
just so excited to say fuck Binnington. So I actually agree with Sara. I'm all wrong. Okay, so and I'm going to unfortunately kill Allmark because I just feel like the Sens are chaotic, and here we are. All right, my friends, that will do it for us. As always, we thank you for joining us. If you want to connect with us when we're not in your ears or on your eyeballs, you can do that on social. We are at 2_much_man on Twitter and Instagram and YouTube. On Blue Sky, we are 2_much_man. Remember that we have a new merch site. I know that we will be getting to a new drop here when Shayna has that pulled together. TooManyMen.printful.me. We encourage you to check that out. We always ask you to please do something, no matter how big or small, to make sure that hockey is for everyone. And this week in particular, if you are able and willing, we ask you to also consider making a donation for Help Pause in honor of Zuki Goldman. You can find that link on Shayna's Twitter and socials. Zuki remains one of the most special pups ever. We miss her, we love her, and Shayna, we love you.
Love you both.
Love you so much.
Talk to y'all later.
Bye.
Bye.